Driver's license testers, what's the worst thing a kid has done without batting an eye while taking the driving test? Not a tester, but there was a license center next to the sporting goods store I worked at. A lot of people would come there and practice before their test out front in the straight on parking spots. A young lady, who only had her permit, managed to mix up the gas and brake and drove right through the front of the license center. I was told later that she was even more upset when they wouldn't let her reschedule her test for the following day, since they cancelled her test she was pulling in to take when she wrecked the whole front of the building. It wasn't long after that they installed a bunch of bollards in front to protect the building. I was amazed at how marked up they had gotten in the first few months. Not a tester, but I heard about a girl in driver's ed who was driving on the interstate with the teacher and 3 other students. The teacher commented that they missed the exit, but they would just get off on the next one. I'm not sure what the girl's thought process was, but this girl pulled into the grass and tried to go against the traffic to go back to their missed exit. The teacher had to use her brake on the passenger side while the 3 other students screamed bloody murder. One of my kids has his driver's test this coming Wednesday, so I've been taking him out driving a bit. And his sister was learning a few years ago. I told them both about what to do at "you miss your turn, you don't stop, you don't swerve, there will be a way to come back. You look for the first easy and legal stop, and you pull off, and figure it out. Or, you take the next exit, or turn at the next street, even if it's a long ways." That was actually my biggest fear for them, that they'd do something sudden like this. When I went to take mine, the tester waited till I was at an intersection and then yelled "turn left." She scared me, so I did and failed, lol. When I went back to try again, she was just ripping into this girl and her mom in the parking lot. I was like, at least I'll get a different tester cause she's clearly busy, lol. During my test, there was a stop sign before entering the course. The instructor just told me to drive forward and looked at me. Needless to say, I stopped at the sign, look both ways before entering. I feel like it was a trick to see who would not stop. I wonder how many people fail because they just drove into the course without stopping. Yeah, afterwards I was like, maybe that was a test to see how I do under pressure. Not good though, apparently, lol. When I was sitting my test, I asked the tester how many tests he did in a normal day. His answer was 10. Not all that surprising, until he followed it up with. I asked him to elaborate, and apparently the vast majority of test sitters will fail for administrative reasons, like arriving late to the test, not bringing their existing learner's licenses, or having a vehicle that wasn't road legal. The latter was more common than it sounds, when all lights/turn signals/horn etc. are tested in the car park before the test itself begins. Fail any of the above and you've wasted your $75 and never even got into gear. The kids make minor mistakes, and yes, some do make scary mistakes. However, it's the adults that scare me most. Especially the seniors who are up for re-exam. Probably the worst test I've ever been on was this man in his 90s. I instructed him to turn onto a street, when it is safe to do so, and he turned, narrowly missing a pedestrian. Not only that, but he was driving on the wrong side of the road. He came head to head with another car who pulled over to let him go. He was laughing about it, because he was under the impression that it was a one-way road. When I got back to the office with him, I cut the test short and got him back in the quickest and safest way possible. He was astounded when I told him it was not a one-way street. Me, did you see any one-way signs? Him, no, but I assumed you were going to take me on one. Huh? Edited for clarity. Sorry. Edit. Opposite kind of story here. When I was taking driver's ed, I was in a car that had the brake on the passenger side for the instructor to use just in case. Going 35, down fairly busy street, my car all of a sudden comes to a complete stop. In horror, I look over at my instructor who is sound asleep with his foot on the brake. I just sat there dumbfounded. After a couple people honked real quick, he shook himself awake, mumbled a quick accelerate and sat up adjusting his glasses. So that was fun. Edit. Yes, I did pass. Guy was in his 70s and just didn't care about anything. I should have technically failed mine, as when I did my turn across the oncoming lane, a car was reasonably close coming towards us. We get back to the registry, and the tester says, I could have failed you there, but it was raining, there was dark low cloud and it was a black car without its lights on coming over the crest of a hill, so I gave you the benefit of the doubt. Well, fantastic, I think. So that afternoon I go for my first solo drive, and as I'm pulling into a shopping mall, I completely miss a pedestrian crossing sign and nearly run someone down. I slam on the brakes at the last second, and am apologizing profusely, and she's just staring at me. It was the woman who did my test. She just shook her head and walked off. Thanks for the benefit of the doubt though. My dad was friends with a guy who worked for the registry giving the road test. His best story was of a kid who took his test while it was raining. He started driving without the windshield wipers on. The guy figured he was nervous, so tried to give him a break, saying, "It's raining pretty hard, huh?" The kid was white-knuckled on the steering wheel and just said, "Yeah." Again trying to give the kid a break, he said, "Don't you think you should do something about that?" The kid said, "Yeah." Apparently he didn't know where the wiper controls were, so he rolled down the driver's side window and stuck his head out. At that point he stopped the test and failed him.